Hotel family. Welcome back to Matthew Daniels TV. And I got another good one for you guys. I got a very good one for you guys today. This video, we're going to be talking about the instructions of Ptahhotep, living according to Maat. Now, why am I even doing this video? First, give me just a second. I'm gonna make sure my screen share, as usual. I'm gonna make sure my screen share is working, and I want to make sure my audio is working before I just get too deep into it. Hold on. Okay, let me pull up my screen. Let me make sure the audio is good. Okay, all right, we good. Let's go. So, we're going to be talking about this book that's on your screen right here. All right. We're going to be talking about the teachings of Ptahhotep. And we're going to be looking at how the Egyptians describe living by Maat. Now, one of the reasons that I want to do this is because for the past few days, I've been having a real good conversation with one of my friends. We've been talking about Maat. We've been talking about what does it mean? How does an individual live by Maat? When the ancient Egyptians said it, what were they talking about? When modern day individuals say that they are living according to, or they are living by Maat, what are they actually talking about? Because in this new day and age, we've seen a resurgence of more or less the ancient Egyptian religion, or a particular version of it. I don't think that anyone in this modern world can practice ancient Egyptian religion exactly how the ancient Egyptians did it. That's impossible. But people who are coming out of other religions, like Christianity, Judaism, and Islam primarily, they are coming out of those religions and they are attempting to adopt the religion of the ancient Egyptians. And the main term that people use when they try to refer to the ancient Egyptian religion is they just say Maat. I follow Maat. I believe in Maat. But what does that actually mean? Okay, what does that actually mean? What do they do on a day-to-day basis to live according to Maat? Are they sacrificing animals in a particular way to a particular god or to a particular deity? Are they saying that on a specific time, on a specific day, they're praying to a specific deity, or what the Egyptians called the Neter? Are they claiming that they follow celebrations and feasts that the ancient Egyptians celebrated on a regular basis, pretty much all throughout the year? Sandra asks you, good afternoon, sister. Good to have you in the building. Now, you have various organizations, like you have the Asar Aset Society. You have the Temple of Anu. You have the Shrine of Maat. You have the Shrine of Ptah. These are organizations that have been created in various parts around the country where they are resurrecting their form of the ancient Egyptian religion. And they may follow this ancient Egyptian religion in similar ways, but in a lot of ways they differ. So to an individual who hasn't really studied it, an individual that doesn't watch those videos, that have never been to any kind of gathering or meeting, you may not have a understanding about what they actually believe. What are they talking about when they say that they live by Maat? Now, is my opinion, and really it's the actual truth, that the only way to really know how to practice ancient Egyptian religion or how to quote unquote follow Maat, you have to go to the culture that created the term, right? You have to see what the ancient Egyptians said about their religion. And you can agree or disagree with certain aspects of it. I can't go to ancient Babylonian texts to understand Maat. I can't go to ancient Sumerian texts to understand Maat. Basically, I can't go to Greece. I can't go to Rome. Now, they can talk about Maat and give their commentary on it, but obviously the best source is the ancient Egyptians themselves. Now, there is a plethora of literature that one can peruse through. It is said that the text, artifacts, documents, written material that's found or has been found in ancient Egypt, there is more ancient literature that has been found in ancient Egypt than all other ancient civilizations combined. You understand what I'm saying? Than all other ancient civilizations combined. And a lot of their records go back further than any other records that we have. The closest ones to the ancient Egyptians records are the quote unquote Sumerian records. But even with the Sumerian records, the amount of information that we have, the amount of tablets, the amount of cuneiform clay tablets that we can read pale in comparison to the amount of text that we can actually read in ancient Egypt. So what I want to do is I want to pick one of those texts, the teachings of Ptahhotep. This comes from a genre of Egyptian literature known as wisdom literature, or some people will say it's the instructions, because everything that they found in ancient Egypt, of course, is not of a religious nature. Okay, they were a actual functioning society. You may find some texts that are of a medical, of the medical variety. They may be talking about how to cure and heal and treat ailments and diseases. You have some texts, they're like school books teaching an individual mathematics, teaching an individual geometry. You have some texts that are related to artisanry, like building, how to build, the materials that they used to build with. Some of those temples that you see in ancient Egypt, we have the documents of the people that wrote it describing how they built it and who built it. So when we talk about Maat, the best place to go for instructions of Maat is to the wisdom literature. Okay. Now, if you see the book on your screen, The Teachings of Ptahhotep, the oldest book in the world, they're calling it that because it's like the oldest complete book that we have. They have it, they have what he wrote from start to finish, because this book and these teachings were so important. They were copied and copied and copied and preserved for literally thousands of years. So the first thing we want to go into is who is Ptahhotep? Who is the guy that wrote this stuff that we're about to be reading about? Now, Ptahhotep is he was the governor of the city that he lived in, and he was the vizier of ancient Egypt during the 5th dynasty under a king named Assisi, or Jed, how do you pronounce it? Jed Ka-Re or Jed Ka-Ra. Okay. Now, what that means is Ptahhotep was literally the second in command in Egypt, second only to the Pharaoh. He was the highest ranking government official during the reign of that particular Pharaoh, Jed Ka-Re. And he lived somewhere around 2400 BCE. To put that in context, that is around 4,400 years ago. This is when he lived, and this is when he wrote his information. He was also a scribe, obviously, because he knew how to write. And he was also the governor or the mayor or the top government official in his city, but he was also the top government official in the entire land of Egypt. He was the Pharaoh's most trusted advisor. Okay, so he was the boss of all bosses. He was the top of the food chain, the upper echelon. He had risen as high as an individual could rise in ancient Egypt without being Pharaoh himself. Okay, that goes without saying. We know Pharaoh, ultimate authority, God on earth. His word is law. So nobody is Pharaoh but Pharaoh. But directly under him, the top of 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 the food chain was Ptahhotep. Look what it says. Ptahhotep was the city administrator and vizier, the first minister during the reign of King Zedkare Assisi in the 5th dynasty. He had a son named Akhenaten, who was also a vizier. He and his descendants were buried at Saqqara. Ptahhotep's tomb is located in a mastaba in North Saqqara. His grandson, Ptahhotep Jefi, who lived during the reign of Unas, was buried in the mastaba of his father. So we have an understanding of the individual who wrote this information. Now, remember, ancient Egypt was one of the most powerful nations, well, the most powerful nation on the planet during this time. It just cut to the chase. And how they ran their government. Yes, Pharaoh was the ultimate authority, but think about it. Egypt was a big place, and there were millions of citizens, and they had what we would today call states. Like how if you live in America, we have Texas, California, New York, Alabama, Georgia. The ancient Egyptians had nomes. In these different nomes, they had a multiplicity of different cities. Okay, just how in a state you have different cities inside of those states. And so it's crazy because when you look at the government style of ancient Egypt, you see not a one for one when you compare it to the government styles of today, especially in America, but it was much the same. Whereas, yes, we may have a president, but in each state, you have a governor over that state. In each city, you have a mayor over that city. But the mayor in the city has a city council. You have judges that work at the courthouse. You have police officers that enforce the particular laws. You have many arms of government. And so each nome had someone that was like a governor over that particular nome who spoke for Pharaoh, who made judgments on behalf of Pharaoh. They controlled the judges and the quote unquote peace officers in that area. And then you had somebody on top of them. So you would have Pharaoh, you would have the vizier under him, you would have the governors over the different nomes, you would have judges and quote unquote peace officers, people who enforce the rules, who punish the wicked. Under them, they had courts, they had laws, they had everything that you would need to have a functioning society. And so with Ptahhotep, he was something like, if you look in like a prime minister, right? Like a prime minister. He is actually in charge of the day-to-day runnings over the nation of ancient Egypt. So I think that he's one of the best people to go to look at some of this Maat, because of course, the religious system of Maat, or the religious system of the ancient Egyptians, it went hand in hand with the government structure. There was no separation of church and state. Okay, the Pharaoh was the representative of God on earth. He sat in the seat of the Neter Heru, who sat in the seat of his father, the Neter Asar. And so every Pharaoh had his name, and he also had a Heru name, indicating that, oh, I'm Heru, such and such, meaning I have a divine right to rule. The divine right to rule doesn't come from Britain. even though the royal family in Britain, and really kings and queens in all nations that have kings and queens, they purport that they have a divine right to rulership because of their connection to the gods. This comes down from ancient Egypt. The concept of divine right to rule, they started that. As far as we know, we haven't found any information to show that it comes from another civilization, right? So what you're seeing on the screen, that's an actual statue of Ptahhotep. Now he is wearing a wig. He most likely was bald. A lot of these individuals, they shaved all of their hair bald for like purification rituals and whatnot. And so a lot of times you will see them with wigs. And so these two images that you see on your screen right now, those are both images of Ptahhotep wearing two different wigs that they found in his actual tomb. So we can get some kind of understanding of how they depicted him and what he might have looked like. Real briefly, this is the actual tomb of Ptahhotep and his son Ptahhotep. This is where he was actually buried, and if you go inside of there, there's reliefs, there's drawings of him doing various things, giving offerings, officiating over the land. There's images of him eating, giving food, and doing all of that stuff that you see inside of different tombs. So we know that this guy was a real individual. We have his tomb, we have his likeness from statues, and we have the actual book that he wrote, and we have his his literature. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but this is the tomb of the pharaoh that he served under, Zed Kare ECC. Okay, this is matter of fact, I'm not going to read through that. I put that up there, but I'm not going to read through it. You kind of get the point. This is the pharaoh that he ruled under. If you look at this gray slab in the middle of your screen, you can see the name of the pharaoh there. Inside, it's like an oval. If you know what a cartouche is, or if you know what a shin is, it's this oval where the hand is moving, this oval shape in the center of the I don't know, I guess that's granite, maybe not granite, but some type of stone. In the center of the stone, you see a circle with a dot. You see the Jed pillar, and it's hard to see because it's kind of broken up, but right beneath that is two arms extended upward. That's Ka. So the middle symbol, that's the Jed pillar. Ka is the two hands at the bottom, and that circle with the dot is Re or Ra, kind of like the name of the sun god. So Jed Ka Ra. Anytime you see a name inside of a shin or what they call a cartouche, you know they're talking about a king. You see his name again right here. You see the standing figure. That's the pharaoh holding the staff, and directly in front of his head, if you go to the right of his head, you see that shin or that cartouche again, and you see his name. You see the Ra symbol, you see the Jed pillar, and you see the two arms, kind of look like a U. That's Ka, Jed Ka Re, or Jed Ka Ra. Basically saying, may he live eternal, blah, 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 blah. I can't really read all of this stuff. I can only make out certain words and certain symbols. So I don't want to pretend like I'm just, I read the metal netta. That's not it. So what I want to do, now that we know who we're talking about, we know when he lived, let's go into the instructions of Ptahhotep, and let's talk about how one lives by Maat. Now, what is Maat? Maat is an idea or concept. It literally means the right way to do a thing. It is the idea of truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, balance, reciprocity, and order. It is the very thing that holds the entire universe together. The universe is ordered by Maat. That is where the order in the universe comes from. the trees, the plants, the water, the animals, everything is subject to Ma'at. So the concept of Ma'at being order, truth, justice, righteousness, reciprocity, right? The concept of Ma'at being the right way to do a thing, to be in harmony and in balance with the order of the universe. This concept translated to the ancient Egyptians in the basically, like, you can think about it in the form of a question. They would have to now ask themselves, how does a person need to live in order to live a life of truth, justice, harmony, balance, righteousness, reciprocity, and order? How do I live to live in line with that, to be in harmony with my fellow humans, to be in harmony with nature, to be in harmony with the animals? How do I tell the truth in every situation? How do I be a good person? This is what they're talking about. So when an individual says that they're living by Ma'at, they're saying that they're trying in every situation in their life to just do the right thing and be a good person. And how do you determine what that is? For them, if a situation causes strife or disorder, or if it causes pain, if it hurts another individual or another thing, that is against Ma'at. So you should not do that. But enough of me talking. Let's look into what Ptahhotep actually had to say for himself. I'm not sure if you can see this. I hope you can. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can zoom in. I don't think I can from this screen, but we're good. We're good. So look, the instructions of Ptahhotep. It begins. The instruction of the governor of his city, the vizier, Ptahhotep, in the reign of the king of Upper and Lower Egypt, Asosi, living forever to the end of time. The governor of his city, the vizier, Ptahhotep, he said, O prince, my lord, the end of life is at hand. Old age descendeth upon me. Feebleness cometh, and childishness is renewed. He that is old lieth down in misery every day. The eyes are small, the ears are deaf, energy is diminished, the heart hath no rest. The mouth is silent, and he speaketh no word. The heart stoppeth, and he remembereth not yesterday. The bones are painful throughout the body. Good turneth unto evil. All taste departed. The things doeth old age for mankind, being evil in all things. The nose is stopped, and he breatheth not for weakness, whether standing or sitting. So what is Ptahhotep saying? What are we talking about here? Basically, at this point in his life, Ptahhotep is around 110 years old. He is 110 years old. And so he basically begins this. He's basically just talking about his health, how the health of an individual descends as they get older. Imagine we all have elders. Some of us are elders ourselves. When we you know how somebody may say, man, every day I wake up, my body hurt, my knees hurt, my elbows hurt, my hands hurt, my feet hurt, my chest hurt, my nose is always stopped up. It's getting hard for me to see. It's getting hard for me to hear. And you complain about how the body is breaking down. My grandfather, as he got older, one of his favorite church songs, he would always sing. It was like, this old building keep on leaning. I got to find me a better home, better home. This old building keep on leaning. I got to find me a better home. And what he's talking about is the building is his body. His body is breaking down because he's getting older. Everybody who gets older, they experience this. So that's all Ptahhotep is saying. So he goes on to say, look, I'm 110 years old. My body is breaking down. I know that I'm going to die soon. So he petitions the Pharaoh. Remember, he's second in command. So he goes on to say that he goes to Pharaoh and he tells Pharaoh, listen, let me, since I'm about to die, before I go, let me pass down my wisdom about how to live a life according to Maat. Let me pass this information down to your son, the son of the Pharaoh, which will be the next king, which will be the next Pharaoh. Let me instruct him in the ways of the elders, the ancestors who instructed me, who themselves were instructed by the individuals that came before them, all the way back to the individuals who lived on planet Earth after the time when the gods or the netters lived on planet Earth. So what Ptahhotep is saying is he want to pass down the information that he himself received. Look where he says right here, he says, command me. He's talking to Pharaoh. Command me, thy servant, therefore, to make over my princely authority to my son. Let me speak unto him the words of them that hearken to the counsel of the men of old time, those that hearkened unto the gods. I pray thee, let this thing be done, that sin may be banished from among persons of understanding, that thou may enlighten the lands. So in Egyptian understanding, you had a time period when the Neteru themselves lived on planet Earth. Asar, Heru, Aset, Set, etc. After that, the gods, for whatever reason, no longer lived on planet Earth with man. But after that, you had on planet Earth the great sages of Egyptian history. And they give you some of their names. But you have this time period immediately after the time of the gods when you have the men who are the great sages who lay all of the foundation. They pass on the information that they got potentially from their ancestors, but they write books, they give information, they tell individuals how to live, how to construct a society. And it's that information that came from that ancient time that gave them the ability to build the magnificent structures that we see and to order and create a society that lasted longer, a civilization that lasted longer than any other civilization in the ancient world to date. Okay, some people talk about how, man, it just looks like the Egyptian civilization or society just sprung out of nowhere. One minute there's nothing, next minute you have pyramids, you have sphinx, you have temples, you have the metal netter, a complete system full of words that have meaning, full of symbols that have phonetic values. You have writings, you have teachings, you have all of this stuff that many other cultures wouldn't have for thousands of years after them. And it's like, where did they all get it from? Well, the sages that lived at the time after the gods. This is what they say. And so this information was handed down from generation to generation. So Ptahhotep has handed down ancient wisdom in this text to the son of Pharaoh so that the son of Pharaoh may rule and live according to Maat. So we can read this and we can glean from it how the ancient sages of ancient Egypt believed one should live in order to live according to Maat. So let's see how this plays out. Look what he says. Be not proud because thou art learned, but discourse with the ignorant man as with the sage. For no limit can be set to skill, neither is there any craftsman that possesseth full advantages. Fair speech is more rare than the emerald that is found by slave maidens on the pebbles. So what is he talking about? We could summarize this as in the idea that whenever you're dealing with somebody, whether you're smarter than them, whether they're intelligent, whether they're unintelligent, whether you have more education than them, you still should speak to them with honor and respect. All of that, oh man, you stupid, you ignorant. I don't know why I'm wasting my time with you. Treating people like they're less than, bullying people just because they're treating the individual. Have you ever seen sometimes where if let's say some people are notably slower than others. They don't catch on as fast as others, right? They don't get it. And you may get it and you realize, well, you know what? His elevator don't go to the top floor. He's not all the way there. There may be some mental handicaps there. Not talking bad about him. I'm just being honest. So what he's saying is, be not proud because thou wert learned, but discourse with the ignorant man as with the sage. You treat everybody the same. Just because that individual may not be as smart as you, you still talk to them with the same amount of respect that you talk to somebody that has a PhD. Because remember, when they're talking about living according to Maat, it's all about your behavior. Is how to be a good person. Is it good to degrade someone with your words because they're less intelligent than you? Or is it good to treat everyone with respect? Obviously, it's better to treat everyone with respect because remember, one of the standards is harmony and balance, and it's truth and it's justice and it's righteousness. So sometimes when we find somebody that may be quote unquote ignorant, they don't know something, and we talk down on them and we bully them and we shame them and we make fun of them and we talk about them behind their backs, we make fun of them, what's going to happen? You're going to hurt their feelings. Obviously, you're going to hurt their feelings. They may cry on the inside. And while you may not think nothing of it, that leads to these types of individual may get depression. An individual may start getting low self-esteem. You have all of these adults, right? You have all of these adults that are running around here and they just have the lowest self-esteem. And it's just hard to get up in the morning. It's hard to get out of bed. When they look in the mirror, they don't like what they see, right? And some of that is not just because they don't like what they see, it's because of how society and how individuals who don't bridle their tongue have spoken to them and treated them over the years, that now they begin to believe this negative stuff about themselves. And so sometimes when an individual is talking about how do you deal with depression, right? How do you deal with depression? How do you deal with low self-esteem? How do you deal with helping an individual that feels like they're not good enough? Well, if you got to the root cause of that, how they are treated by other people, you could, I'm not saying that would deal with all levels of depression, but I guarantee you a lot of people that suffer from depression, they were bullied, picked on, talked about, treated badly by other people in their lives, and that brought on the onset of depression. Or they were in a relationship and they did their best to be good, they did their best to be loving, they did their best to be honest, but that person that they were in a relationship with talked to them like a dog, talked to them like trash, told them over and over and over and over that they weren't good enough, and they slowly began to believe it about themselves. You see? So it's some things that are a product of an individual not following these types of simple guidelines. Let's go down a little further. Look, he says, if thou find an arguer talking, now that arguer could also be like debater, one that is well disposed and wiser than thou, let thine arms fall, bend thy back, be not angry with him if he agree not with thee. Refrain from speaking evilly. Oppose him not at any time when he speaketh. Hold on, just a second. Shout out to Brooklyn Zoo in the track. Controversial with Char Fredericks. I don't know who this is. I'm not 100% sure about what the comment is about. But on the, you can now correct me if I'm wrong, but on the surface, it seems like this individual, controversial with Char Fredericks, is doing exactly what I just pointed out an individual shouldn't do. Nonsense. What is dir? Are you making fun of someone's mental capacity? Are you making fun of someone's intellectual aptitude? I would hope not. But if this individual is doing that, it's a like a prime example of the nonsense that I'm talking about. Now, if that is a slight on me, particularly, it really does no good because I'm confident within myself. You see, I'm a grown man, beautiful wife, beautiful children. I have so many accomplishments under my belt. I know I'm intelligent. I know I can achieve any goal that I want to achieve, but that's the nonsense. And I'm glad the individual commented that because now you can get a real world example of what I'm talking about. You see? But now watch this. Watch how he walked right into it. If thou find an arguer talking, one that is well disposed and wiser than thou, let thine arms fall, bend thy back, be not angry with him if he agree not with thee. Refrain from speaking evilly. Oppose him not at any time when he speaketh. If he address thee as one ignorant of the matter, thine humbleness shall bear away his contentions. So even though he may be taking a shot, what good would it do for me to just take a shot back? What good would it, what purpose would it actually serve? Especially when I could just block him. I could just delete the comment and block him. But I think I'm going to leave it up for right now just as a teacher tool. Just bring on a little more of that. It will be fun to read. But let's go down a little bit further. So this is basically what they're talking about. Life principles, how to live. Now look, check this out. Let me see which one I want to go to next. We're not going to read them all. Let's see. It was one particular that I was looking for. It was about friendship. Hold on. Give me a second. We're going to go back to... okay. This is a good one. We're going to look at number 18. Now, check this out. He says, if thou desire to continue friendship in any abode wherein thou enterest, be it as master, as brother, or as friend, wheresoever thou goest, beware of consorting with women. No place prospereth wherein that is done, nor is it prudent to take part in it. 1,000 men have been ruined for the pleasure of a little time, short as a dream. Even death is reached thereby. It is a wretched thing. As for the evil liver, one leaveth him for what he doeth. He is avoided. If his desires be not gratified, he regarded no loss. So what is he actually talking about? He's basically saying that we all know that if an individual is married, you shouldn't. If this is your friend and they're married, they got a girlfriend, they got a boyfriend, they got a husband, you shouldn't try to mess with your friend's husband or wife. Basically, even if it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and really, even if it's not a friend, but he's even saying to go even further than that. If you are two friends, let's say I go to my homeboy house, I shouldn't even be trying to get too close or too comfortable with his wife in the first place. Why am I going into the kitchen behind her when she's making something to drink? I'm going in there with her and I'm trying to have a conversation with her behind my friend back, and I'm in there talking. That opens up the doors for too much nonsense. And whether or not I have bad intentions by doing it, what can it do? It could put bad negative thoughts into the mind of my friend to where now it's going to start hurting the friendship. And we all know that this type of thing is real because people get killed all the time like this. Jealousy is real. Jealousy is real. People get killed. People get shot. People get stabbed. How many times have you looked up and it was like, so-and-so shot his girlfriend, shot the person that she was cheating with? Or you see people out and about and somebody say something to somebody's girlfriend, not really knowing that her boyfriend is right there next to him. He punch me in the mouth. It's a big fight. Somebody pull out a gun. They start shooting, right? Somebody say something to a woman on Facebook. They got a man. They trying to flirt with him back and forth. The man said he cuss him out. Next time I see you, this what it's going to be. And then you see, I mean, for thousands of years, listen, for thousands of years, people have been getting hurt over just that. People have been getting hurt over just that. But what is the underlying cause of that? Like you say, you're trying to live a life of harmony and balance, no strife. I don't even want to put myself in a situation where I can be perceived as trying to hit on my friend's wife. I don't even want to put myself in a position like that, right? If thou look at 19, if thou desire that thine actions be good, save thyself from all malice, and beware of the quality of covetousness, which is a grievous inner malady. Let it not chance that thou fall thereinto. It said at variance, fathers-in-law and the kinsmen of the daughter-in-law. It sundereth the wife and the husband. It gathereth unto itself all evils. It is the girdle of all wickedness. But the man that is just flourisheth. Truth goeth in his footsteps, and he maketh habitations therein, not in the dwelling of covetousness. What is covetousness? It's basically the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. I see you with something and I want what you got. Oh man, he or she is driving a nice car. I wish I had that car. I wish I had the job that person had. I wish how did he get a promotion? I should have got that promotion. Man, he always got nice clothes. I wish I had nice clothes like that. You see, the simple concept of coveting or desiring to have what somebody else have can lead an individual into all types of negative, wicked, evil thoughts. I'll tell you this, nobody robs somebody unless they first want what that other person has. Let me say it again. Nobody robs somebody if they don't first want what that other person had. Why do you think people break into people's houses? Covetousness. Why do they do it? Oh, you think they got a big screen TV in there. You want that big screen TV for yourself. Why would you steal somebody else's car? Oh, that's a nice car. I want that car for myself, even if I want to take it and sell it for parts to make money, or just money itself, man. Oh man, I see somebody at the ATM pulling money out the ATM. I want the money. That's their money. Next thing you know, those types of thoughts just plant seeds in the mind. Those types of thoughts plant seeds in the mind. Next thing you know, you running up on somebody at the ATM with a knife, with a gun. I saw on the news not too long ago, they got this new thing that they call jugging, where people will literally follow people from they'll stalk ATMs. And when they see somebody vulnerable go to the ATM to withdraw money, they'll follow them, right? Or even run up on them right at the ATM, but they'll follow them till they get them in a vulnerable position, and they run up on them and they take their money. Now, obviously, robbery, burglary, theft, all of that is that's disgusting behavior any kind of way you look at it. It's disgusting behavior any way you look at it. But what can happen? What if I need that money to pay my rent? What if I have 4 children at home? I'm behind on my rent. Somebody just sent me $1,200 to pay my rent. I just got a blessing. Now I can pay my rent, so me and my 4 children don't have to be out on the streets. So I go to the ATM to pull that money off, to take it to the landlord to keep me from getting evicted. And then here you come low life. You take that money. You take my money. So now me and my children. Now you done made 4 children homeless. What if I needed to pay my car note? Now my car get towed. My car get repossessed. Now I can't make it to work. I can't take care of my family. What if I needed it for groceries? What if I saved up for 3 checks to bought that TV? I'm going to tell y'all something. And this I'm finna I always wasn't a good person. I'm going to admit that about myself. I wasn't always a good person. You see, I got dirt in my past. I used to steal cars, right? I'm finna tell y'all a little testimony. I used to steal cars. And when I was learning how to steal a car, I used to break into cars and just practice to try to just see if I could get it to crank up, right? I had to learn how to do it because nobody was showing. I remember this one time I went to this apartment complex and I walked around the parking lot checking doors. I found this one door that was open, so I opened it. I jumped in the passenger seat, and I started trying to take out the ignition. Now I'm not going to explain how to nobody exactly how to steal no car, but this is what I was doing to try to get the car. So I'm trying to get out the ignition. Now, mind you, I'm so nervous because this is one of my first times doing it. I'm so nervous. I don't want nobody to walk up. I don't want nobody to catch me. I don't want to get shot. I don't want the police to get caught. I'm nervous. So I'm trying to take the ignition out the car and I'm damaging the ignition, right? Trying to yank it out. I'm damaging it. And so I spend so much time in the car, I get scared. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just finna abort the mission. But the ignition, the steering column, the wires, I tried to hot wire, cut some wires and touch them back together. I was crazy, right? Now, I done totally made this car inoperable. And when I finally decided to just cut my losses and run, man, when I was getting out the car, I looked in the back seat. I hadn't even paid no attention. I looked in the back seat, and you know what I saw? I saw a child's car seat in the back seat of this car, right? No, you know what? Man, I'm glad I said that. I stopped because I realized the car was a stick shift and I didn't know how to drive a stick shift. And after I did all that damage, I was like, dang, even if I get it to crank up, I can't drive off because it's a stick shift. And so when I'm getting ready to leave, I look in the back, man, I see a child's car seat. And I'm gonna tell you something, I was raised right. Okay. I just got I got into drugs, got into gangs, I got into that foolishness, man. And when I fled the scene, that you have no idea how bad that bothered me. To this very day, all I see in my mind is like some mother, probably, I don't even know the story, but it could be a single mother doing everything she can to pay her bills, take care of her, 6 months, 7-month-old baby, struggling to buy diapers, struggling to buy milk, waking up in the morning about to take her baby to daycare so she can go to work and, make her minimum wage or whatever it was she was going to do. And she opened up her door with a baby in her arms, and somebody, me, a disgusting human being, had effed up her vehicle. And man, that bothers me to this very day. When I think about that, I in my mind, I can see that lady crying, like, God, what did I do to deserve this? Why was I never hurt nobody? Why was somebody coming here and F up my car? Man, I can barely pay rent. I can barely buy diapers. I can barely buy milk. I can barely pay for daycare. Now, how am I gonna get the baby to daycare? How am I gonna get to work to even keep my mom? I'm about to drown anyway. And that was me. I was the cause of that. That bothers me. You understand what I'm saying? That bothers me to this day, man. I told my wife that story before, and I was like, man, sometimes I think about that, and I just be like, dang, bro, like I was a disgusting human being for that. But that's what it boils down to. See, when somebody talk about following my eye or living by my eye, well, you're not necessarily talking about a like a rule. You don't have to necessarily say, don't steal somebody's car, don't rob, don't take somebody's money. That's good to say. But if you just get to the root of what causes an individual to do that, and you teach an individual how to have upright, righteous thoughts, then those actions won't occur, because it is the thoughts that lead to the actions. Everything you do begins with a thought in the mind, right? It begins with a thought in the mind. It begins with an emotion. My covetedness, I wanted that car, caused me to do something that caused probably irreparable harm to somebody else. Probably couldn't sleep at night, didn't feel safe for months after that. You see? So when an individual is talking about living by my eye, if they're truly trying to do it, they're trying to reconstruct their mind into such a way that they don't even allow for these negative ideas to get root. You see? Look, be not covetous as touching shares and seizing that which is not thine own property. If it ain't yours, don't touch it. If it's not yours, don't touch it. Don't even want it or desire it. If you see somebody with a nice car, it's okay to say that, that's a nice car. But don't want that car for yourself. You just keep doing what you doing, because if you let that covetousness fester in your mind, you're gonna end up breaking the law. And even if you don't end up breaking the law, it's just gonna make you start feeling worse and worse. Now you're gonna become depressed about your own life. You're gonna literally start thinking that because you don't have the new Tesla SLY or whatever, that is something wrong with you. Oh, I wasted my whole life because I don't have a 4-bedroom home. All because you seen somebody else with a 4-bedroom home and you wanted it so much that now you think you're a failure at life because you don't have a 4-bedroom home. You see? You just mentally put yourself into depression. Don't do it. One of the things my homeboy kept asking me, he was like, according to my, can I beat my wife? The Muslim says they can beat their wife. You don't know what's right and what's wrong. This is what he got. Shout out to my homeboy, man. He kept asking, could he beat his wife? Bro, like, come on, man. Fam, you really think beating your wife is the right thing to do? Now, I don't think he wanted to beat his wife, but he was more or less trying to say that there's no such thing as right and wrong. People make up, they do what they want to do, which, I kind of understand his argument about morality, but I'm not finna rationalize beating on your damn wife. But then I showed him this right here, number 21. I said, okay, is it okay to beat your wife according to my eye? You really want me to answer that question, brother? Check this out. If thou wouldest be wise, provide for thine house and love thy wife that is in thine arms. Fill her stomach, clothe her back. Oil is the remedy of her limbs. Gladden her heart during thy lifetime, for she is in a state profitable unto its Lord. Be not harsh, for gentleness mastereth her more than strength. Give to her that for which she sigheth, and that toward which her eye looketh. So shalt thou keep her in thine house. Too many people take this, I'm the man, I'm the head of the household, entirely too far. To the point where, like I say, my homeboy was asking me, can he beat his wife? Well, according to my whether you agree or not, what they're saying is the proper way, right, to interact with your wife, brother, you provide for her. Now, I know in today's economy, you need, most people need a 2-income home. I get that. But it shouldn't be a 1-income home, just her. To the best of your ability, what you need to do is provide for your whole household. Really do your best to provide for your wife and your children. That's what you do. And you love your wife. You don't beat her, you love her, fam. If you need to beat her, you shouldn't even be with her. Like, what? Why are you with somebody that you need to beat? If you have to beat her to get the kind of relationship that you're looking for, just be single. Come on, fill her stomach, clothe her back. Bro, just put some groceries in the house. Don't beat her, put groceries in the house. Don't beat her, buy clothes to go on her back. Look, it says oil is the remedy of her limbs. What are they talking about? That's like massage. You have sometimes my wife may be like, baby, can you rub my feet? Can you rub my leg? Can you rub my back? She had a hard day. Just want to be rubbed, want to be massaged, want that physical touch. A marriage should be loving. It should be kind. With you and your significant other, y'all are deciding to live life together. Y'all want to grow old together. This isn't your adversary, your what they call it, your op. It's not your enemy. What is you beating on her for? What do you want to beat her for? She's not your enemy, bro. You get what I'm saying? That's freaking crazy to me. Glad in her heart during thy lifetime. Try to make your wife happy. And yes, I do agree that it has to be some kind of order in the household, right? It has to be some kind of order. So when people say the man is the leader of the household, I understand that to a degree when he's working in tandem with his wife. But it says, "Be not harsh, for gentleness mastereth her more than strength." Okay, I want you to go. I want you to go cook. Should I A, punch you in the face and tell you to go cook dinner? Or should I B, treat you right, fill your stomach, clothe your back, massage your limbs, make you happy, talk to you nice, rub your hair, every day, baby, I love you, treat you right. Oh, is that what you want? Oh, you want to go here? Let's go here, baby. Oh, you mean the world to me. You're the mother of my children. You're everything to me. I'm nothing without you. And then under that type of a scenario, you be like, "Hey, baby, will you go fix me something to eat?" Because of all that you've done for her, she's going to fix you something to eat. You want her to clean up, she's going to do it because you filling her stomach, clothing her back, massaging her limbs, you gladdening her heart, you doing all of that. So you're going to get everything that you need. You see, but the problem is you don't want to fill her stomach, you don't want to clothe her back, you don't want to massage her limbs, you don't want to make her happy, you don't want to tell her she's pretty, but you want to do everything for you. And then if she don't, you want to beat her like she's somebody off the street. Crazy. Crazy. But let's go a little further. Now remember, so what we're talking about it's not that deep when someone is saying that they're trying to live according to my eye. The idea is just simply, I want to be a good person. I want to live in balance and harmony with those around me, with my wife, my children. I want to live in harmony with, I don't want to pollute the grass. I don't want to pollute the air. I don't want to harm people. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I don't want to bully. I don't want to make people depressed. I want to live a good life. I want other people to live a good life. I want to achieve my dreams. I want you to achieve yours. And so all of that starts with having the right frame of mind. You have to have the right frame of mind. You have to convince yourself that there's nothing more important than being a good person. Yeah, you got something that I like. You got something that I might want. I might look. I might look out the window, see a car driving down the street. That's a nice car. But is that car so nice that I want to harm somebody, or do I want to get depressed because I don't have? Is the car that nice that is worth my mental health? Heck no. But the keeping up with the Joneses, unfortunately, it's a part of a lot of people's culture at this point. And we focus so much on, okay, you think as long as I'm not robbing and stealing, that's enough. When it's good that you're not robbing and stealing, but you really shouldn't be desiring what everybody else has as well. Because again, a lot of problems that we have, especially here in America, is mental illness. Mental illness. And a lot of it comes from how we treat each other, right? Look, check this out. Let's look at number 33. I think this is another particularly good piece of advice. If thou wouldest seek out the nature of a friend, and what this is going to be talking about is how you should act if you get into it with one of your friends. One of you and your friends, y'all have a falling out. Y'all have beef. Now, this is a friend. How should I handle that situation to be in line with the concept and ideals of truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, reciprocity? How would a good person handle this according to Ptahhotep? He says, if thou wouldest seek out the nature of a friend, ask it not of any companion of his, but pass a time with him alone, that thou injure not his affairs. Let's stop right there. He's off the bat. If I have a problem with you, I'm not going to go to somebody else and talk about you. And you already stirring the pot and ready to cause strife. Think about it. Me and you, we friends. We close friends. I've been knowing you for years. We have some type of falling out. And then you go to somebody else and you talk about me behind my back to them. Man, you want to know what Matthew did? Matthew did this. And I feel this way about it. Then when I find out, now, on top of what the problem already was, now it's compounded because now I'm upset that you went to talk about me behind my back. And depending on the person that you went to, you can inadvertently create a problem with them because now they may be thinking, oh, you know what? I can't trust you because if you would tell Matthew business to me, you would tell my business to somebody else. So now you have a problem with that person. Or even if not, that person may have a problem with Matthew as well. And so now y'all are teaming up to bash me. Now I got a problem with you and I got a problem with somebody else. The strife will begin to spiral out of control. So some of the best, now this is advice that you can use right now today. It don't matter if it was written 5,000 years ago. If you have a problem with a friend, you go to them directly. And look, it says, but pass a time with him alone. Just you and your friend, nobody else. You guys sit down, or you girls sit down, and y'all talk about it. Right? How many times in this age of social media, I'm gonna show you that you know this real. How many times in this age of social media, you'll be scrolling through Facebook, right? And then you see somebody post, man, F Matthew, he had the nerve to do this. So now you put our business out there in front of the whole public. Now, inadvertently, I feel the need to defend myself because nobody wants to be shamed. It's a normal human reaction. When you feel attacked, you attack back and you defend yourself. So now, since you didn't come to me privately, where nobody else can hear the conversation, now instead of me responding in one way, I have to go on the defensive. I have to immediately either jump into the comments or make a post of my own attacking you. And so what you're always going to see some level-headed person though in the comments. What are they going to say? This ain't for Facebook, fam. This ain't for Facebook, fam. Yes, this is ancient wisdom. If thou seekest out the nature of a friend, ask it not of any companion of his, but pass a time with him alone, that thou injure not his affairs. So you don't make it worse, basically. He said, debate with him after a season, test his heart in an occasion of speech. When he hath told thee his past life, he hath made an opportunity that thou may either be ashamed for him or be familiar with him. What are they talking about? If I have a problem with a friend, I should go to that friend, just me and him, and I should say, okay, listen, we fell out. Tell me your side of the story. Why do you feel like you feel about me? What did I do to hurt your feelings? Tell me. And you should be quiet until they get it all out. Majority of the time, we listen to respond instead of listening to hear. You see, you have to listen. You have to not only hear what they're saying, but try to see it from their point of view. Really listen to what they have to say, and you will be able to determine, well, you know what, humbly, with no ego, I have to admit, you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong here and I was wrong here. I don't think I was wrong right here, but I'm willing to accept that I was wrong here and here. Look, he says, be not reserved with him when he openeth speech, neither answer him after a scornful manner. So once you tell your friend that, okay, get it off your chest, tell me what you want to tell me. No matter what they say, of course, they're going to be talking about a problem that they have with you. Control your pride, control your ego. Don't get defensive. Let them get it out. and don't respond in a scornful manner. Like they may say, well, when you said this, I really felt like that was disrespectful, and I ain't disrespect you. You said this, and so I said this, and then boom, you already know where that's gonna go. You already know where that's gonna go, and you're trying to live a life with no strife and no stress. Withdraw not thyself from him, neither interrupt him whose matter is not yet ended, when it is possible to benefit. So naturally, if you're trying to mend the friendship and you're giving them the time to speak, don't cut them off. Let them get it out. Don't respond scornfully. Hear them out in the whole matter. And with no ego, if you agree with what they said, let them know. And if you don't, you don't. But likewise, they should also give you the opportunity to express yourself to them. If you think about it, a lot of times people just want to be heard, right? Like in several jobs, I've had like management positions, and I've always been a good manager. Why? Because when problems would arise, I would sit the person. I would like, if there's something going on in the store, I'm going to bring one person back. Okay, tell me your side of the story. Okay, tell me your side of the story. Or even if I'm correcting someone and they don't like it, I feel like they've done something wrong. Okay, tell me why. Why did you do that? How did you take how I responded? What are you upset about? And no matter what the person says, I listen. Even if in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, you the problem. You just don't know you the problem. I don't attack them with that because now is not the time. Sometimes a person, they just want to be heard. They just want to get it out. Even if at the end of it, you don't agree with them, but you gave them the respect of getting it off their chest. A lot of times a person can work through the problem on their own. Like sometimes you just want somebody to listen. You just want to be like, look, you don't even have to agree with me. I just want to get it out. And you say you go and you talk to your friend and you just get it off your chest. While you're talking to them, your brain may just come up with a solution to the problem. And then whether or not they agree with you, you may come to a realization on how to solve the problem yourself. You see? So you get into it with a friend. This is not it's not that deep. But what it is it takes thought. You have to address every situation from the perspective of how do I handle this in a balanced way? How do I handle this without hurting somebody else? Look, I want to show you guys something. Before I go further with Ptahhotep, I want to show you guys something. Now, this is real interesting. Very, very interesting, right? This is going to mess y'all up. Now, look, this right here is from the what they call the Book of the Dead. Okay? Or the Ptahhotep. Now, without going into too much detail, these statements or what an individual wishes to be able to say about themselves in order to validate that they're a good person. I have never done this. I have never done that. I have never done this. I have never done that. Thus, I am a good person who has followed my eye. Right? Look at one of the things that they say. Right here. It says, not have I caused pain? And it's written like that because it's another language. But basically in English, we would say, I have not caused pain. Not have I made to weep, or I have not made to weep. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. One of the ways that you can say that, to validate that you're a good person is I have never made somebody cry. And I have not caused anyone pain. Think about that. Not only is that pain as in I haven't physically caused anybody pain, We know that they're also talking about emotional pain because the next statement is not have I made to weep. I have not made anyone weep. So we're also talking about emotional pain, right? You have been so conscious of how you talk to people, treat people, and interact with people that you have never done anything to make someone cry. Think about that. Now, I know some people, and I'm not going to say no names, but they pride themselves on being able to use their words to break someone down emotionally, to just say the most, go right into their heart. Sometimes I tell my sometimes I tell my wife, it's like, bro, you know exactly what to say to just put that knife in and twist it. And a lot of times it's women. I'm just throw that out there. They know what to say to hurt your feelings, man. They know what to say to hurt your feelings. But should they? Should they hurt your feelings? Right? Because again, is a compounded thing. Because we're talking about harmony, balance, truth, justice, order. We're talking about no chaos. We're talking about no strife. We're talking about everybody being able to enjoy life. So if everybody wants to enjoy life, we have to create a system of interacting with each other where I don't infringe upon you, you don't infringe upon me, I don't endanger your mental health, you don't endanger mine. So the idea is, let's say I make a mistake. How many times have you been at work, you see somebody make a mistake, and somebody else, it could even be the boss, just belittle them and berate them? How many times do I have to tell you? How many times do I have to tell you how to do this? How many times do I have to tell you how to do this? I told you 100 times already. When you lay the meat down, you lay the meat down in this particular pattern, then you turn the grill on. Or I told you, you drop the fries, then you push the button. I told you, when you mop like this. I told you this. I told you. And when an individual makes a mistake, you make them feel really, really small because of the mistake that they made. Now, that individual may keep their composure. Now, some people, we call them, quote unquote, like crybabies, or they cry easy. They'll just cry. I've seen people at work cry. I'm not laughing, but I've seen people at work cry over how they're being treated. Some people, they put on a good face. They may not cry physically, but in their mind, right? In their mind, you just broke them down. You just broke them down, man. They feel so bad about themselves. They feel stupid. They feel idiotic. They feel like they'll never get it. They feel like they're not worthy. They feel like nobody likes them. Or they go another route and they get angry. Okay, you hurt my feelings. Now I want to hurt you physically. You see, that's another end result. You hurt my emotions. I'm gonna hurt your body. You see, you made me want to cry. I'm gonna make you want to cry physically. There was just a story I saw about this girl working at McDonald's, and she got sent home early, and she came back and she stabbed her manager. Now, I don't know the specifics of that, and I'm not here. This video is not about taking anybody's sides, but I want to use that scenario to illustrate a point. One of the things that the lady who killed her manager was saying in like Instagram videos or TikTok videos or something, and videos she made before that happened, she was making videos talking about how her manager always treated people bad, always talked to people like they were their children, always sent people home early when they needed their money. Just basically talking about how bad the manager treated people. And she didn't like it. And so this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, whether the manager did or didn't, that's not my point. But for the sake of the conversation, let's assume she did, right? Her belittling them employees, berating them employees, making them employees seem feel insignificant, uncomfortable at work. This young lady, instead of going into the corner to cry, like I just said, some people like, okay, you want to hurt me emotionally, you want to berate me, you want to make me feel like I'm small, I'm gonna hurt you, but I'm gonna hurt you physically. She went, got her knife, came back, stabbed the lady. So when we look at that entire scenario, based on the story that we got, we can see that those actions were caused by thoughts. If that manager did that in her own mind, she felt like it was okay to emotionally traumatize her employees, talk to them like they were her children. And the employee thought that if somebody talks to her like that, it's okay for her to come back and physically hurt them and kill them. But if in the outset, if the idea waking up every day was not to cause pain, emotional or otherwise, that situation would have never took place, because those emotions would have never been fostering and turned into the mental instability that it turned into. Remember, these mental instabilities are caused by that are caused by thoughts, how an individual perceives the world, what they deem okay and what they deem not okay. Some people really think I can say whatever I want to say to you, and it's a free country. You have freedom of speech, and they think I can say whatever I want to say to you. Right? It's my mouth. But we have to understand that that has implications. Yes, you can say it, and somebody can respond. You see, and what you say can affect you, people around you, and the person that you're talking to. And these things can spiral out of control. And so when we're looking at some of these teachings about living Maat, whether you want to do it or not, whether you want to live by Maat or not, then that's up to you. I'm not trying to convince nobody of anything, but I'm just showing you how this start process, when individuals talk about they're living by Maat, they're trying to circumvent their thoughts in the beginning in order to control their behavior. You see, the only way to control your behavior is to control your thoughts. Some people focus on the behavior. Hey, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. But also, you shouldn't think the thoughts that leads to those actions. You see, you circumvent the action by or you avoid the action by circumventing the thoughts. Let's go a little further. We're not going to read too much more of this. Let's see what else he says. Oh yeah. And when Ptahhotep wrote this, again, the immediate audience is the son of the Pharaoh. Okay, so it reads, and my friend pointed this out, and I had to explain to him why it was incorrect. But it reads as if he's only talking to either men or that one specific guy. So an individual may say, well, you know what? No, that's the only person that needs to follow those rules that the ancient Egyptians believed in. The only person that needs to follow those rules is the son of the Pharaoh, because that's who he was talking to. That has nothing to do with me. Matt, how can you prove that this is for everybody, even males and females? You know, because as far as I've seen, He's only saying that that's how the son of the Pharaoh should act, right? But when we go down a little further, right, let's go to 41. So he says, a son that hearkeneth is as a follower of Horus or Heru. And when he's talking about hearkeneth, he's talking about somebody that hears these words that he's given and they obey them. He says, he is good after he hearkeneth. He groweth old, he reacheth honor and reverence. Now, here's the key, right? Here's the key. This is how we know that as far as the ancient Egyptians start, this was how everybody should behave. He repeated in like manner to his sons and daughters. So renewing the instruction of his father, each man instructed as did his begetter, repeating it unto his children. Look, let them in turn speak with their sons and daughters. So what is he saying? Yes, this information, the immediate audience is the son of the Pharaoh. But he's saying that these words, these sayings should be given to everyone. And I'm going to show you this too, to everyone in the whole land of Egypt. Remember, this guy is the boss of all bosses in Egypt. You see, he calls the shots for everybody. And so when he's saying this is how people should behave, this is what he's basing all of his judgments on. When he talks to a governor or a judge or a officiator of the courts in these different nomes, when he interacts with them on the behalf of Pharaoh, this is the standard that he's holding them to. So this standard applies to the land, right? And he's saying that yes, the man is the head of the household, especially in ancient Egypt. Let's not forget that. So he's saying, give this information to your sons. Teach this to your sons. Now, these sons in turn do what? Teach it to their sons and daughters, the boys and the girls, men and women. Get this information. And then when those children, those sons and daughters have children, they give this information to their children. And then their children give it to their children. And it should be passed down from generation to generation. All throughout the land, sons and daughters should get this information on how to live life. You feel me? So look, hold on, watch this. Look what he says right here. If thou obey these things that I have said unto thee, all thy demeanor shall be of the best. For verily, the quality of truth is among their excellencies. Watch this. Now here's the kicker. Set the memory of them in the mouths of the people. Set the memory of the things he wrote in the mouths of the people, for their proverbs are good. Nor shall any word that hath here been set down cease out of this land forever, but shall be made a pattern whereby princes shall speak well. They, my words, shall instruct the man how he shall speak after he hath heard them. So this is to be set down into the mouths of all the people, and not one word that has been set down should cease out of the land forever. So again, this is not some random guy. This is the boss of all bosses. This is the way that the government officials in ancient Egypt should conduct themselves. This is how the citizens should conduct themselves. This particular book uh is almost, you could look at it like, for the Egyptians, like holy and divine scripture. Because remember, in the beginning, yes, Ptahhotep is writing this, but he's giving you the knowledge that came from the ones who came before him. They got this knowledge from the ones that came before them. They got this knowledge going all the way back to the scribes who lived in the time immediately after the gods, the Neteru. So he's saying pass this stuff down because he himself is passing it down. The information didn't originate with him. Look at the beginning one more time. He says, let me speak unto him the words of them that hearken to the counsel of the men of old time. So he's saying, he told Pharaoh, let me tell your son the words of the people that came before me, who listened to the words of the men of old time, the ancient ancestors. So he's saying this information has been passed down, passed down, passed down. Now, I'm 110 years old. I'm going to die soon. Let me pass on this information before I die. Right? Now, there's one other thing that I want to show you guys before I go. I didn't have this prepared, so I'm going to get it right now. There's a document. It's called The Immortality of Writers. It's another Egyptian document that was written like literally about 1,000 years, or maybe even a little over 1,000 years, but we can round it up, 1,000 years after Ptahhotep lived, right? And so let me get it so I can post it. I'm going to prove that this information that Ptahhotep wrote, that he said should never cease, not one word should cease in the land. It was passed down from generation to generation. I'm going to show you guys that 1,000 years after Ptahhotep lived, they still had this document. They still knew his name, and they still honored those writings. So this isn't just like, you know, oh, they dug this up. This was just the thoughts of one individual. No, this was official. I'm gonna stop sharing for just a second. This was official how you follow Maat. Okay, so give me just a second. I had to stop sharing so I can pull up this document real quick. I have to go into my email to get it. So you you can't just show all your personal you can't just show all your personal information online. There's no telling who will see these videos. So you can't just show any and everything. You guys understand that. But I'll get back to the screen share in just a second. I got it right now. I'm putting it in the PowerPoint, and I'm going to show you that these words indeed were preserved. Watch. Okay, let me save that. All right, we're finna get right back to the screen share. Let me see. Screen share. Hope you guys are enjoying this information. Okay. So so this is another Egyptian document, and is known as the Immortality of Writers. That's the title of it. If anybody want to look it up, and it's basically talking about how wonderful it is to be a scribe, right? To write books, write information, because the individuals that they looked up to, the most prominent people in their society, were the individuals, the scribes and the priests, and the ones that wrote and passed down the knowledge on how to build, how to live, how to behave. Those individuals were like rock stars. And so look at this portion of what my bad. Look at this portion of what they had to say. So he says, be a scribe, take it to heart, that your name become as theirs. But oh wait, let me stop. Now, before I read that, this was from like the 19th dynasty. Okay, so we're talking about some 1200, 1100 BCE, something like that. Maybe 1,000, 300 years after Ptahhotep. Okay, that's what we're talking about. 1,200 years, give or take, after Ptahhotep. Now that's a long time. Look what this writer says. Be a scribe, take it to heart, that your name become as theirs. Who is the theirs? He's talking about the same people that Ptahhotep was talking about. The men, the great men that lived during the time immediately after the Netters lived on planet Earth. These men wrote books. They gave divine knowledge. They passed on the information that allowed the Egyptians to be able to build the pyramids, build the tombs, carve 6-7 inches in the pure granite, erect stela, move 7-ton blocks, 500 miles, carve out granite blocks that's harder than diamond, like just those monumental structures. And people say, we don't even know how they did it to this very day. Well, they did it according to them. They say they were able to do these things with the information that was passed down from the great men and great scribes who lived immediately after the Netters lived on planet Earth. And these individuals also were able to tell the future. They were prophets, they were priests, etc. Okay? So when he says that your name become as theirs, he's talking about those great men of the past and men like Ptahhotep. Watch. Better is a book than a graven stele, than a solid tomb enclosure. They act as chapels and tombs in the heart of him who speaks their name. Surely useful in the graveyard is a name in people's mouth. Man decays, his corpse is dust, all his kin have perished, but a book makes him remembered through the mouth of its reciter. Better is a book than a well-built house, than tomb chapels in the west. Better than a solid mansion, than a stele in the temple. So he's honoring the written word and books. Now, you guys, y'all know me. I'm the real bookworm. I love this talk right here. May your name live on forever and may your memory never die. My books will have me living for 1,000 years. I understand the concept that they're saying right here. And this is one of my favorite, the immortality of writers. Hey, I'm a writer. I'm a scribe. I'm the real bookworm. This is one of my favorite documents. I feel as though I'm in the list of the long line of scribes. I got 17 books. I've earned my spot. But this ain't about me. I just had to pat myself on the back. But look what he says. Now, these are some of the people he's honoring 1,200 years after Ptahhotep. Is there one like Hordedef? Is there another like Imhotep? None of our kin is like Nefertiti or Keti, the foremost among them. I give you the name of Ptah Jehuti, of Ka-Kepera Psalm. Is there another like Ptahhotep? You see? Or the equal of cares. Those sages who foretold the future, what came from their mouth occurred. It is found as their pronouncement. It is written in their books. The children of others are given to them to be heirs as their own children. They hid their magic from the masses. It is read in their instructions. Death made their names forgotten, but books made them remembered. Ptahhotep died over 4,400 years ago. But just simply by us reading his book today, he's still remembered. But you can see, look, is there another like Ptahhotep? Over 1,000 years after his death, they're still holding him in high regard. And remember, there were those that he held in high regard. Even look, the second name. They say, is there another like Imhotep? Most of us, Sandra Askew says, thanks for sharing this information. Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you for tapping in. Look, we know who Imhotep is. He's the architect of the step pyramid. He lived in the 3rd dynasty. He lived before Ptahhotep. Imhotep did. Hardidef, I can show you guys some stories about him. Nefertiti was a prophet, not just a prophet. He was a great priest and a great scribe and a great man, but he also told the future. And we have documents about his prophecies, and we can prove that his prophecies came true. Ptah-Im-Jehudi, we have some information about him as well. But what I wanted to show you explicitly is that Ptahhotep and his writings were in fact revered like he said they should be. And not only his, there was multiple writings that tell us how an individual could live according to Maat. So again, we've been looking at the teachings of Ptahhotep. We've been talking about how to live according to Maat. And remember, it's just a concept of all of your actions, all of your thoughts, all of your deeds. You should be trying to be the best version of yourself. You should tell the truth. You should live a life of justice, harmony, balance, order, reciprocity. Treat people right. Don't treat people wrong. Don't physically hurt people. Don't hurt people's feelings. Don't want what other people have. And there's a lot more information about Maat that we can cover. Again, there's so many documents, but that's a good start to the topic. So if you ever hear somebody talking about that they're living according to Maat, and this is not what they're talking about, then they're talking about something different than what the ancient Egyptians were talking about, clearly. But if they are talking about this, then, you know, they have the actual Egyptian scribes to lean back on. So we're going to end the screen share there. And all I'm going to say now at this point is I appreciate everybody tapping in. I hope you guys enjoyed the information. I definitely enjoyed giving it to you guys. I'm going to go the next video I'm going to go into some more of the wisdom literature. I'm going to talk about Maat a little bit more, give some more context, give some more references, show you guys a little bit more about how the Egyptians said that an individual can live Maat. So if you hear someone in today's time saying that they're living according to Maat, then you'll basically know what they're talking about, and you'll know if they're telling the truth. So thank you guys for tapping in. Thank you guys for watching. This is the real bookworm, the scribe. Now y'all see one of the reasons why I say that so much. And when I say may your name live on forever and may your memory never die, that's one of the mantras of the ancient Egyptians. May your name live on forever, may your memory never die. May my books last for 1,000 years so I can be like the greats like Ptahhotep. Hotep, I'm out. You guys have a wonderful day, man.